Hello and welcome. My name is Erin and I am here with To Win. We are so excited that you have joined us today for this live working session. Whether you are a pre-sales collective member or a To Win alumni, both or neither, we're certainly excited to get this kicked off today. We did announce our official partnership with the Presales Collective earlier this week, and this is a first insider look at what it is going to be like to be part of this partnership moving forward. So, this live working session is going to be something that we do over the course of time, depending on the excitement from everybody here, but it will be exclusively available to Pro Plus members for the Presales Collective. But today, you are getting an open look at what it looks like to be part of this partnership between To Win and Presales Collective. So, with me today, I'm really excited to bring on Jack Cochran, the general manager of the Presales Collective, and Chad Wilson, our VP of operations here at To Win. Chad and Jack, let's get you on here.
Hey.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
hey,
Thank
good
you so
morning.
much.
Yeah, would you guys just start us off by sharing a little bit more about this partnership and kind of what we're here to do today? Would really appreciate that.
Jack, you want to start?
Sure, absolutely. This has been something that's been a long time coming. I think we've been chatting together, trying to find great ways of working together because there was a good recognition of the fact that, hey, we've got this amazing community of pre-sales professionals, some who are early in their career, some who are seasoned and have been in the profession longer than I've been in the working world, right? So we've got a whole gamut of people, leaders, individual contributors, people in enablement, everyone focused on the craft of pre-sales. And the one thing that I felt like we really could do with some help with is get some get some good methodologies in here, some good frameworks that we can use for our enablement sessions that we do, our workshops, events like this, and really take the content that we provide at Presales Collective to kind of the next level. And so it's been wonderful to be able to work with Two and to finally make this actually happen and be able to announce that we've been talking about this behind the scenes for so long. So to be able to actually talk about it openly with all of you is fantastic. I am very excited about more of the things that are going to come. We actually have a session tomorrow to talk more about that in detail, so I won't spoil all of it. But this for me has been a very exciting way of kind of keeping what we do and kind of taking it to that next level.
Yeah, I would agree. It's been fun to plan this, dream a little bit about what this could be, and work with folks on your team, Jack, and about what you all see and some of what we're seeing as well. Talking with some clients about what this might look like. So again, more details coming tomorrow on that LinkedIn live that we'll do. But just to kind of just put our point of view on this. So we've been friends of the Presales Collective from the very beginning, and we've done things here and there with Presales Collective, but really never really leaned in on what could this be if we put a program and a partnership around this. And so this really being one of the first things that we were talking about is one of the things that clients appreciate most about working with 2N is the live coaching and being able to work through things together. And so this was one of the first ideas that we're really talking about is what if we did some deal coaching and we got together and helped people think about things. And then thinking about this concept that a lot of the work that Presales Collective does is to the broader community. And then there's some company specific stuff that you all have done. A lot of what we do at 2Win is company specific. And we don't do as much for a broader in the broader community outside like a public workshop. And so bringing what we do together to say, hey, how could we bring some of the training, enablement, coaching work that we do to the broader community and expand the reach and impact of that is something that we're really excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as both Chad and Jack have said, we are doing a LinkedIn Live tomorrow to talk more about this partnership. So I'll drop that link in the chat. So if you want a reminder to join tomorrow, that you can get registered for that and stay in touch with us. But we are very excited to dive into this coaching session today. So, Chad, I am going to let you take it away from here. Does that sound
Yeah.
okay?
That sounds great. That sounds
All right.
great. Well, team, this is the first time that we've done this type of coaching session, and so if you have things that you'd like to talk about, I would encourage you to put that in the chat and let us know. Diana, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Let us know. We did have a person or two sign up for coaching. We did invite one of them to come on. I think they're still working on getting joined. So we're working to get them squared away. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about some of the things that we see from a coaching perspective and a deal prep perspective. See if we can get them on. We'll work through it in real time. And in the meantime, if you all have things that you'd like to talk about, let us know, and we're happy to talk about that here in real time. And I'll even offer this if you've got a deal you want to work through live, let us know in the chat. We can reach out, get you the backstage pass, and bring you in here. We can talk through it a little bit. So let me start by offering this. The gentleman that I was working with, I'm going to keep the information private. That way, if he is able to get his situation worked out and join us, then we'll work through that in real time. I was talking with this gentleman about a pursuit that they're working on, and so without kind of saying the company names, kind of what they're working on, they've got a new kind of an AI offering, if you will, that they're looking to displace an incumbent vendor. And okay, looks like Karthik is here. Yeah. So let me give some context while he's joining for this deal, and then we'll have Karthik give some additional feedback here. So we've got a pursuit that we're working on, and looking to connect more strongly to some of the business outcomes to drive some progression in this deal. We're stalled out just a little bit. So we're trying to figure out, how do we get more people activated? How do we get this going a little bit? We got a really compelling solution. We got a really compelling use case, but we're trying to get other people activated. And that's the gist of what we're working on. I can see Karthik is joining here and almost
Hey, good morning,
almost
sir.
with us. Are you with us, Karthik?
I'm here, sir. Good morning.
All right, perfect. Gotcha. Well, I can hear you. I can hear you. Do me a favor. Talk us through. Give us the background of the deal. I know that we talked a little bit yesterday just to get some understanding of what this is. We're going to keep the company name private, and some of the names we'll change them a little bit. But for the rest of the audience, give us an idea of the mechanics of this deal. Where are you? What are we working on?
Absolutely. So this is an enterprise travel company. And the current proof of concept that we are running is the second one. The first one happened sometime last year. And what happened was there were a lot of back and forth that were happening. Even though there was a good positioning from our side, we weren't able to land really last year. So we had to navigate through a lot of security questions, NDA processes, data sharing, and all that. So just to give a quick context, we are an agentic analytics company named Bicycle AI. So anything with data will have to go through the stringent processes, right? So the last 7 months has been on the back and forth, figuring out the right data to be shared, right stakeholders, exec sponsors, all the processes and all that. So somehow successfully, we started the proof of concept in January 2026, the second proof of concept. And we presented that to the decision maker, who's the SVP of data at this travel company, and also to the VP of product management. So there were 3 action items following that call. One was to start off with the product adoption, put the tool in their hands so that they can start using the tool and get familiar with it. 2, also to probably see if we can replicate their incumbent solution, to see how easy was it to replicate, create, and start using them. And 3 was also to see if we could have one of their problem points or challenges that they were facing in real time, implemented into our tool, and then probably demonstrate that. So these were the 3 action items that was discussed in the proof of concept demonstration. So that's a
Okay.
quick background.
Got it. So some of the stakeholders you've got connected right now are the senior SVP of data, the VP of product management. You've got 3 key initiatives that came out of the proof of concept. One is get the product in play, drive adoption around it. to replicate something that they're using on a regular basis in their incumbent solution to try to replace that. And third, address new challenges that may come up in real time.
That
Yeah,
was the
great.
third one was actually one of the problems that they were facing. I mean, they're still facing at this point in time. A real world scenario.
Are you able to share some information about the real world scenario that they're trying to address?
Absolutely. So what happened was sometime last September in 2025, they had migrated to a new website. So since then being a travel company, a lot of traffic, customers and revenue come from the website for them. So what happened was once they migrated to the new website, they noticed that there was a drop in revenue, even though there was sustained traffic coming in. So they wanted to analyze the reason for this leakage or probably drop in revenue. Since we were an AI analytics company, they wanted to see what hypothesis or what analysis we came up with for the current problem that they were facing.
Got it. And would you say that the one of the primary drivers of this deal is to fix the revenue problem, or are there other business challenges that they're looking to solve for?
Ultimate goal would be the revenue problem. Probably the sunset or probably the sidetrack would also be to how do they easily access the reasons as to why the revenue is dipping. So one of the main challenges for them is that they're not able to get that from their current institution as of today.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Well, let's talk through this a little bit. One of the things that you and I briefly talked about yesterday is this concept of a plan to win document. I'm curious, Karthik, did you have a chance to take a look at the stakeholders and business challenges section of that?
I did check, yes.
Yeah, excellent. Well, let's talk through that. Are you able to share your screen and we can talk through this? That way, folks can see some of the details or uh, as we talk through it.
Sure, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, great. So while Karthik is doing this, team, one of the things that we've put together for our clients is this planning document that we call the plan to win. And so I'll tell you about that while Karthik's getting that ready. Basically, what it does is it starts with an idea of what are the key business challenges that we can identify, and one of the reasons is we typically see the sales to pre-sales handoff has information about what we need to show, but it doesn't always clearly articulate why we need to show it from a business perspective. And so starting to baseline on what are the business objectives that they're trying to accomplish, why is this important for them? And then from there, taking a look at the stakeholders that are connected to this to see, do we have the right stakeholder coverage to drive the right adoption here and the right interest around this, or are we missing some stakeholders that we need to broaden our coverage with? So starting there helps us to frame what we're trying to accomplish before we start to talk about how we want to accomplish it. So I know we've probably made some of this anonymous since this is public, but Karthik, let's walk through the top of this. If you go to section 1, uh, section 2. So we call this the persuasion foundation, right? So as opposed to like the deal summary, which is what a lot of people would call something like this. Um, I have found that talking about this in terms of this is the foundation for my persuasive message. I need to understand where these folks are, how they're thinking about it, because I want to shape the way they think about this to drive momentum in this. They need to come to this conclusion that this is something that they want to do if they're going to action on this. And so thinking about this from a persuasive point helps us is really helpful in framing our point of view. So Karthik, take us through this. Like, let's get through the customer's challenge or goal.
Got it. So the current incumbent that they are using, so there are a lot of dashboards that they have set up for different business teams for the different North Stars and metrics that they plan. But the problem is that the dashboard gives them some numbers, but it doesn't tell them why the numbers show up that way. What is causing the numbers to behave that way? So that's one of the major problems right now. When I say major problem, they will have to invest significant time and also human effort to actually get to the bottom of the problem. And even then, since it involves a lot of data, they're still not able to fixate on the hypothesis.
Right. Yeah. So they've they've made a new website. The website is not converting at the level that they want to. They've got data to show what the problem is, but they can't identify the real solution or the root cause of this problem. Let me ask you this. This is how you're describing it. Would you say that this SVP of data, VP of product management also hold the same belief that their problem is they don't see the root cause?
Absolutely, Chad, because this was these are his words. So
Okay,
it
great.
is.
Excellent. Okay. So that's what we're pointing towards, right? We need to solve for this understanding what is causing the challenge. So let's go to what triggered it. So this is there a compelling event, something that happened inside of the company that caused them to work on this? Let's walk through that. What triggered the evaluation?
So one of the mutual consultants who's also our champion for this opportunity is on the marketing side, and he's been helping them with the new website. And when they faced this problem, he was the one who put them in touch with us with Bicycle AI, and that's how it started, right? Because they were trying to, they were just going round and round trying to figure out what exactly was the problem, and there was a lot of resources going into this. So that's how this evaluation came into the picture.
Got it. So this consultant is not an employee of the company. They're a partner that's helping with the website migration. They brought you in to help with this. Is that right?
That's, that's it.
Yeah. So I'm curious, just because this nuance could matter, did your client ask this consultant to bring you in, or did he bring you proactively? He or she bring you proactively?
This was proactive.
Okay.
So, I mean, okay. So when I say proactive, they were just looking out for answers, and he just suggested Bicycle proactive.
Got it. Got it. So sometimes it can be really helpful. It's one thing to, as we're getting into the strategy, and we'll start to get into this as we like, what does your customer believe is, if a consultant brings us in, a partner brings us in, sometimes we get, a nice credibility pop there. We get some of the trust that they've established transferred to us, which can help us move a little bit quicker. Uh, but that's not always the case, and so we'd want to make sure that we're assessing that relationship, and what does your client believe about you being brought into this. So let's get into that as we get into this a little bit. So we've got their challenge. We've got kind of what triggered this. You've got a consultant that's bringing you into this conversation. What does your customer believe today? How do they think about this?
Got it. So right now, honestly, they just want a tool or a software that just gives them the answer for the questions they are looking at. And they also feel that the current way of operating isn't really helping them, or it isn't scalable for them. So for any analysis, not only for this revenue analysis, but typically for any analysis, they feel that this will require a lot of, it's a capital intensive and also a time intensive process is what they feel.
Got it. Okay, so they believe they've got a challenge with their current technology stack that is preventing them from doing this. So let's dig into that a little bit. If you think about, I wonder if I have a visual reference real quick that I can share with you. I may. All right. So this is one of the tools that we use in our learning called the value pyramid. And what we talk about is how stakeholders express value or motivation throughout the organization. So we've got at the base of this, we talk about operational impacts. How is your solution going to impact the way work gets done on a daily basis? And so what we're talking about right now are operational problems, right? hey, the current solution isn't allowing us to do this. It's going to take a lot of time and effort to go find the root cause that are impacting the metrics in a negative way. And that's fine. It's fine to understand this. But what we know is we've got a revenue problem, and a revenue problem sits higher in the value pyramid, right? It sits in the yellow or the green. And what we want to start to do is understand, what do they think about the impacts of this revenue problem? If they're not able to fix the root cause of this, what does that mean for them? What are the consequences that they may experience because of that? That's going to, we're going to need that information as we get into future conversations with them and demonstrations, because if all we do is connect, here's what our solution does, and our solution is better than your current one, but we're not connecting the impact to revenue, then we're missing an opportunity to tap into how these leaders are likely measured. They're likely not measured on how long it takes to do this work. They're likely measured on the performance of the business. So talk to me, Karthik, a little bit about that. In terms of what these stakeholders believe, have you got into any of these operational connections? If we thought about the work they're doing to solve this problem and how that impacts departmental and priorities, have you got into that yet?
We have chat. So whatever they've told us, we've gotten into the departmental impact as to how each of their problems for that specific role or for that specific department, what would be that outcome with the new solution or with the new tool that they're looking at. We,
So if we get, and we may skip a little bit ahead to the audience and stakeholders, if we go to the SVP of data, how do you think they would answer that question? Right. So we've got reduced time and effort to understand the root cause analysis of the revenue leakage. And I believe that, but I'm going to push you a little bit. That type of statement sits at the operational level, right? Understanding the root cause of revenue leakage is an operational challenge. What I want to know is, what is this SVP of data? That's a senior vice president sits in the strategic area of an organization. What type of pressure do you think they're under to resolve this, and where is that pressure coming from?
So one, you're right. I think they are under. Sorry, they're under some pressure, I would say, because they're a publicly listed company, and the revenue lift that they've been seeing in the past couple of months isn't helping them. So sorry about that. So they've been under some pressure to make sure that the revenue gets back on track, not just back on track, but also grows year on year.
Right. Do you think that the SVP is holding the responsibility for the website problem ultimately?
Probably not. He doesn't hold that responsibility for the website problem, but I think finding out what that problem is, I think he's tasked with that responsibility. And I think that's where the helplessness or the challenge comes in, is what I believe.
Okay. So we're getting closer here. Think about it this way. Let's imagine that you are this SVP of data. You've been tasked to figure out what's going on here and understand the root cause. Who do you think asked him to look into this? Who is he going to report back to?
The business team.
Say again?
The business team. The business or the product team. Yeah.
Do you know yet? And it's okay if you don't know yet. Do you know who that is? Beyond a team, like a person.
I don't know, Jaya. I don't have an answer.
Okay. So it's totally fine. That would be a gap that I would elevate here. And we need to understand who has asked the SVP of data to look into this, because ultimately this person is going to be accountable to somebody else that is accountable for this revenue number. So whether that's a CRO, whether that's a head of marketing that may be ultimately responsible for the website decision, there's something else happening at the political layer above this SVP of data that is connected to the revenue problem directly. And that's one thing that I would encourage you and your account team to try to figure out, who is that person, because what we don't yet know is, or I haven't heard it yet, how specifically is revenue impacted? Is it only impacted through the website, or are there other trends happening in the market that are impacting revenue through their other channels? And then second, how quickly does this need to get resolved, and what happens if it doesn't get resolved? That has nothing to do with data or your AI solution. It has everything to do with their financial performance and thinking about what is that real cost. Because what we're looking for is the real strategic driver. Yeah, at the end of the day, the executives are likely not having a conversation about how their current solution is cost them too much time to fix this problem. That's probably not a topic of conversation in that meeting. The meeting probably is all about the revenue challenge and what they need to do to fix that and who's responsible for it. And then that gets trickled down through the organization that ends up with you getting brought in to help fix the data problem, because that's how they think they need to fix it. But
Got
I
it.
would I'd I'd almost guarantee you that at the top, the person that's going to weigh in on what this organization is, they don't see it as a data problem. They see it as a revenue problem. And I think we need to understand that a little bit better. I'm curious how that sits with you.
No, that's a fair point, Jack.
Yeah. So let's mark that down as a question specifically for your SVP of data. They're probably saying revenue leak because they're saying I need a root cause analysis, and they definitely need that. But the reason they need that has nothing to do with data, and it has very little to do with going to find your product or replacing a incumbent vendor. I'd almost guarantee you that they're not thinking about bringing you in just to replace a vendor. They're thinking about bringing you in to fix a business problem, and we need to understand that a little bit better. Is that fair?
That's fair. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna put a star by that. I want to come back to that in just a little bit. Let's keep going through this. So let's go up to section 2. For those of you that are just joining us, we're going through a deal with Karthik here, and we're looking to understand the real business drivers so we can help drive momentum around replacing a incumbent vendor, driving adoption of their solution throughout a proof of concept, and addressing some of their current real-time challenges. And before we get into product, we're trying to understand the real business outcome and the stakeholder map so we know what we need to do to achieve this. Okay, so we've talked about what they believe. We talked about you were brought in through a partner. What have they seen? Where are you in the process?
So they've looked at multiple demos. We've done 2 proof of concepts for them. They understand what we can do for them. And we've also been very specific in terms of how we can help them recover revenue, the current revenue leakage that's happening, and any future revenue problems that they encounter. Right. So, and the other part of it is also to figure out, not figure out probably, but also tell them how we can automate actions that will actually help them fix any potential future issues if they have.
Got it. Okay. How would you describe their energy, their willingness to engage with you after these proof of concepts? Would you say that it's strong? Is strong engagement, neutral, or weak?
I would say it is somewhere in the neutral zone because it depends on whom we are speaking with. Say, for example, the VP of data and the SVP of data and the VP of product management, they've been really looking forward to this. But probably the other people that we are talking to, the directs of the SVP, probably they might be in the weakest to the neutral zone. So that is how I would put it.
Okay. What was the title of the person that you would say is in the weak or neutral zone?
He's the director for data. I'd
Okay.
also call that out
Okay.
to the third section, the
Got it.
third,
Okay.
or the third stakeholder.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So we'll get to that. So let's finish the last section of the persuasion foundation. What do you not know yet?
So what I don't know as of now is what will actually tilt the favor, tilt the scales in our favor. So we know that the top line is aligned. They've seen what we can do to do proof of concepts. but we don't know what will actually mm, give them the push to start using bicycle AI. Because we
Base.
any
Go ahead.
hidden
Sorry.
things or yeah, no, I was just wondering if there were any hidden agendas or any hidden points that we are yet to surface that would probably make us take this deal over.
Great. Great. And that's kind of what we've been talking about so far is like what is that driver that is really going to get this going specifically and who's that going for? So let's start to explore that, right? From my perspective, just thinking through this, and again, I'd welcome folks up to the chat if you've got ideas, if you've got questions that you've seen, feel free to drop that in the chat as well. As we work through this, we're doing this as kind of a masterclass coaching scenario where Karthik and I are working through this, but really trying to show you some ways to think about this that you can apply to your deals as well. And just the same, if you've got ideas of what you're seeing, feel free to put those in the chat. Welcome your input on what you're seeing with Karthik's deal as well. So, Karthik, if we kind of summarize where we are right now, we've got a couple of key champions that are directly tied functionally to your solution, right? In terms of helping to identify the root cause analysis of the revenue problem that they believe is connected to a website transition. We've got those stakeholders in data that are pretty positive to neutral to positive for the solution, but we got some other stakeholders and there's some unknowns about why this isn't popping off for you. So let's start to see if we can get into some recommended next steps of what we need to do to answer some of these questions. Now, I'm curious. I know you and I only had about a 10-minute conversation yesterday just to kind of understand what this is and for me to pose some questions to you for you to think about. In the last 24 hours or so, do you have any perspectives on where you think you need to go to understand this more, or do you want to work through that and workshop it here?
So probably we can workshop it here.
All right, let's do it. So we've talked about some of the stakeholders. Let's make our way through this win plan or plan to win a little bit and walk me through. We talked about the SVP of data. Talk to me about product management and the director of data. Where are they sitting on this?
Right. So the director of data is I would say, is the hardest of the three stakeholders because we've not been able to probably establish engagement as easily as with the other two, even though they are probably not on top of the chain. Right? So that's where I feel is the friction stemming from.
Do you know
The
why?
VP of product. So I have a hypothesis for that. I feel that their team is solely specialized on the Tableau software. So that's their bread and butter. So probably that resistance to change is what is the friction point, is what I assume. I'm not very sure
100%.
about that, but probably with my limited conversations when I was trying to get some use cases out of them, this is what I felt.
Yeah. It sounds. I'll build on your hypothesis. It sounds to me like there's so much inertia around the training on their current solution, and that this director doesn't yet see a reason to bring in a new solution, train, go through the migration. There's too much risk in doing that, and that's part of if all we're looking for is use cases down at the base of the pyramid, there's not sufficient motivation or pressure from the top of the organization to get them on board around this. Do you think that's a true statement?
That would be a true statement.
Yeah. Yeah. So certainly a hypothesis, maybe not something you want to build a really strong message around right now, but as we're trying to figure out and doing a little bit more discovery and account planning with your sponsor, that would be one of the questions that I would try to figure out is what is it that would um, that we need this director on board with in order for them to be willing to support this moving forward. And it probably again we're recognizing that it's probably not a platform answer. It has to be something else because there's so much inertia around their current vendor and not enough motivation to change for them. Okay. All right. So if we just take a step back and then let's go to section 4 while I'm kind of doing this transition point, Karthik. If we take a step back, like a lot of what we've talked about so far is what the product does and the operational changes in the business. And again, those for those just joining, operational changes being the end uh, the f- uh, the end user impacts to the business. But where motivation is going to come from this deal is understanding how these operational changes, how getting more clarity to the root causes of their revenue problem will fix the revenue problem, which is the real problem that we need to speak to. But we haven't really understood that as clearly as we need to. And my hypothesis back to you, Karthik, is the reason we're not getting folks really leaning into this is we've not connected strongly enough with the broader stakeholder community about what problem we're really solving. That this isn't just a technology solution that's going to solve operational challenges. This is a business solution that's going to help them fix this revenue problem. Okay. All right. So let's go through section 4. The idea here is the key departmental impact is a term that we use in a couple of our courses that helps us center in on one significant um, departmental metric that we could look to address through the demonstration, through the proof of concept. That any adoption we drive is really meant to be measured by this key departmental impact. And if we can show progress towards that, we get this mutual agreement that we're solving a challenge that's worth solving. And I think working with your sponsor with that language is like it's not only that it's measurable, it's that it's meaningful and measurable to them. It's a big enough problem for me to solve that I'm willing to put in time and effort to do that outside of the expense and the opportunity cost of retraining and then putting in a new solution. If there's enough upside for me that I'm willing to do that. So let's walk through what you've got here. What have you listed as the key departmental need, and how would they measure it?
Right. So the key departmental need is to reduce the drop in revenue, and how they measure it is ideally by the search to book ratio. What is the revenue per purchase, as well as the ancillary revenues that is being purchased from their website for their products.
Okay. All right. So now we're getting there. Search to book. So purchase per revenue, is that like the average revenue of a transaction? Is that the same thing?
No, that's the overall revenue. Purchase revenue is the overall revenue that comes out from the transactions.
Overall. Okay. Gotcha. In ancillary revenue, would this be add-ons that they may have for the transaction, other services they may that a buyer may purchase?
Yes, spot on. It's the add-on
Okay.
revenue.
All right. Great. So it's like upsell revenue, if you will.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Great. All right. So do we know what their search to book ratio is, or what their upsell percentage lift is before the website and after the website? Have we gotten to that?
Yeah, we have a baseline numbers for each of these metrics here.
Okay, great. Excellent. And when you went through the proof of concept, if you think back to the work that you all did and the type of messaging that was in your previous conversations, real talk, like objective observation, not a judgment, just an objective observation. Knowing the clarity that we're working through to understand some of the stakeholders and the challenges, do you feel like in the demo and the proof of concept that you clearly articulated how you can impact the search to book ratio, the ancillary revenue, and the overall lift from the website and mobile channels? Or do you feel like there's room to close that gap of understanding for them?
So I definitely feel there is room to probably close that gap, because our proof of concept essentially was around figuring out what were the reasons for that revenue drop. So since they had a real world problem, we were just too focused on that. But like you said, there's potentially gap for us to probably do this too.
Okay. In the proof of concept, was I think what I heard, I'm just repeating this back. The proof of concept, the outcome of that proof of concept, a successful outcome, was to identify some of the root causes for the revenue drop. Was that one of the outcomes of the proof of concept?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you know exactly what the problem is, 1 you still don't have any idea. Where would you say you are in terms of understanding the root causes?
Probably on 7-ish or to 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think the director of data? How do you think the director of data would answer that question?
Probably lesser than that.
Yeah. Do you know why?
Because they have more business context than we do. More business context that you had for POC is much lesser than the actual knowledge that they have, actual context that
Okay.
they have.
So they have more context, but you feel like you've got a better understanding.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. I don't disagree with you, and I'm not necessarily surprised by that. Tell me why you think you understand this better than they might.
So because they have their tested hypothesis as to why the revenue leaks is happening, what we've surfaced is what are the extra reasons or the additional reasons that have been contributing to the drop in revenue apart from whatever is happening right now. So whatever we've proposed as hypothesis is something that they've not accepted. I mean, that's something new to them. So that is one of the main reasons.
Excellent. Okay. So if again, this is a hypothesis, this is something for you to talk through with your account team as you're thinking of your stakeholder map and getting into you know, who do you need on your side here. Um, there's a potential that this director of data feels some pressure and maybe competition from you that you know something they couldn't figure out. And maybe they perceive that as a risk. Do you think that that may be possible?
Yes, it could be possible.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have somebody in the account that could help you understand if that's true or not and help you build a strategy around getting this person on board?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. I I would put that down as a key priority to understand how much of their support you need. Um, and I think it's worth saying, just we just take an aside here. We've got a couple of stakeholders. We're trying to figure out why are we not seeing the adoption and the momentum. And ultimately, what I see is when we're working with clients, is it comes down to we've not identified the motivator. We think we know what it is, and we may be partly true on that. But the reason we're not seeing adoption is because we're not seeing the motivator, and we're making some hypotheses around what that could be. So one is we may have a blocker in the director of data because they've got inertia around their existing solution, training, and implementation. Um, they may see some risk that you're identifying things that they feel like they should have identified. And in the best case scenario, they see you as a partner that can help them close this gap. But in some cases, they're defensive against that and they want to discredit you because they feel like you bringing this to the table may discredit them. So I would try to figure that out and see if you can figure out if that is true, and if so, can you bridge them to your side, and can you find a way to help them not perceive that as risk but as opportunity.
Got it.
And I think the other fair question is, do you need to win them? Sometimes you can get deals done if this director of data is neutral, and so long as they're not going to fight against you, that you don't need them to support you because the SVP may tell them what's going to happen. But I would be really clean on how that's going to work and find a way to ask those questions in the right environments to understand how the decision is going to be made. Right? Great. Okay. Perfect. So we've got a couple of things that we can look at there. We know that you have numbers on dashboard, but there's no story or hypothesis that empowers them to fix the leak. So in the time that we have left, let's see if we can make a plan of action to propose to them to get this going. Karthik, what I'm hearing, and this is just my point of view here, and if I were sitting with you and the rest of the account team, these are some questions I would ask to get a plan of action in place, right? It sounds like through the proof of concept, and you tell me if I'm putting too much, if I'm editorializing, putting words in your mouth, you let me know if I'm going too far here. But it sounds to me like through the proof of concept, you prove that your solution can identify causal factors that their existing solution cannot identify, and that you have a pretty high degree of confidence that you're right about this. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay. And if they believe the same thing, that you're right about this, and that this is something that understanding these root causes would help them fix a problem, we would expect to see more engagement across the stakeholder community. Is that also true?
That is also true. Yes.
Okay. So there's a gap here, right? There's a gap between what we think and what they probably think. And we need to figure out how to close that gap. And on the extremes, one of you may be wrong. We need to figure out what that is, right? So if we think about driving adoption and proof of concepts, one of the things that I've seen help significantly is if they're not adopting, they're not engaging kind of post proof of concept and kind of this trial or area, is because they don't have sufficient motivation to put focus on this. And so what you might consider is working with your account team to build a mutual action plan with your SVP of data, who's the most senior person you know. And in that mutual action plan, identifies steps they'll take to fix the problems you've identified,
Right.
right, in the website or the mobile app, and tie those specifically to one of the objectives. Like they're either focused on the search conversion ratio, they're focused on the upsell ratio. You find a metric that you can measure, that you could run a pilot. If they implemented the changes that you found, does it make a significant, a statistically significant impact to one of these metrics? And talk about over time, what is the reasonable time to go measure this? If they can implement the fix, and the average cycle time for this type of industry, being that it's B2C, is days, would they be able to see a change in this in a number of 1 or 2 to 3 weeks, and see, is that reasonable? And can we put a focus on this for 3 weeks to prove this out? And at the end of that, we've got a decision point to make. We either agreed that the problems that we identified fixed this challenge, and if it did, then this is the next step. Right, we're going to move forward to the evaluation to see what else you can uncover with this and build out additional use cases. But one of the things that may do for you is it's time bound for them. You're not asking
Right.
for an open-ended, all the use cases. You've got a specific use case that connects to a specific challenge that they care enough about to fix. It's time bound. And then work with them on fixes they could implement quickly, that have a cycle time in the business that the metrics would show up soon enough, so you can keep that time window as short as reasonable. Not as short as possible, but as short as reasonable, where you've got agreement from them that they can prioritize it. You've got agreement from your side that you can support them in it.
Mhm.
And you've got a defined, agreed upon next step, should that prove out to be successful to them. From my standpoint, if you're as confident as you are that you've identified the root causes, and I believe you, that you have, work with your account team. You're kind of putting your chips on the table, right? This deal is kind of dead right now. You've done a proof of concept. You met with them. They're kind of neutral on it. To me, it seems like if you've got a solution that you believe will help, we need to put together a trial proof of concept, another proof of concept, or something that has more structure to it with defined business outcomes. Let me pause there and just get your thoughts on that. Do you think that that's a conversation you could have with your account team?
Yes, Chad. That is
Yeah.
something that we can definitely talk with our
Yeah.
account team. So the other thing that I would also probably add to this is, if you actually see the stakeholder list here, all of these folks are on the top of the chain. So when we are talking about the product adoption, probably these designations would not be working on a day-to-day basis on these products. So what I would also want is someone who's at the ground level, who's using the tool on a day-to-day basis, to be actually involved into this.
Yes.
So that
Yep.
way, probably we can make this deal move in the speed that we want to, because honestly, I can't expect a VP or a director or an SVP to actually adopt the product and then pass it on to the folks in their team.
Agreed. Agreed. And so figuring out who that team is, I would say depending on who's responsible for the website, if that's product management or marketing,
Mhm.
maybe they need to be involved. The other question that I would ask is who on the revenue team should have visibility into this to make sure that they're part of that. And whether that's you're prepping the SVP of data to have that conversation or whether they're getting brought into this project, having an executive sponsor that has a revenue connection that could validate that you made a meaningful impact to the business, not just that you gave visibility to the root cause, but your
Mhm.
visibility connected to the changes made a difference to the revenue problem. You would want to make sure you know who that person is so they're connected with it because
Absolutely.
that might be the juice you're missing is somebody that is willing to come in and fund this and put priority around it outside of the technical team, you know?
Got it. You're right.
All right. Well, we're coming up on time. Karth, let me ask you this. Is there anything that you feel like I've missed in our conversation that we might want to talk about?
I don't think so, Chad.
Okay. All right. Well, let's close it there because we are getting close to the end of our time. Team, what we're looking to do here is we've had a sales pursuit that stalled for us a little bit. Demos have gone well. Proof of concept went well. From a technical perspective, like we believe that what we're able to do solves a real technical problem, but it's stalled. And anytime I see something stalled, the first place I go to is what is the motivation for them to move forward and in any time possible, like we in pre-sales like to go to the base of the pyramid, the operational changes. Hey, my gear does this stuff. I proved it does this stuff. It found stuff they didn't know about. Check, check, check. Like we may even call that we got the technical win. But what we didn't do is sufficiently connect that to the real problem, which is the revenue problem. And who is the stakeholder that owns the revenue problem? And are they agreeing that we fix that? We've got some work to do that is outside of our solution, right? Karthik, I believe your solution is finding the root cause. You're not implementing the changes on the website that lead to the impact to the revenue, but we need to mobilize those teams so they see value here that started with us identifying this root cause. And I think if we can do that, we're going to see more momentum. We're going to see more buy-in here and get this deal unlocked a little bit. So thank you for working through that with us, Karthik, and I wish you the best of luck on this deal. I I know we're connected now, so keep me posted on how this is going, and I would love to follow this along with you and see you win this business. And if there's any way that I can help you with it, just let me know. You've got my contact information. More than happy to help you on this. Well, team, if we zoom out a little bit and kind of what we're doing here, this is a fairly deep dive on a single deal that we've done today. The idea here is that with this partnership with Presales Collective, we want to add value to you. And so be on the lookout for some communication from us. That'll likely come from 2Win since we hosted this one. We'd love to get some feedback on how this session was for you. This is something that we're looking to do more of. And so we would really love to get your feedback. Was this a valuable use of your time? It's been good. We've had good retention the whole hour, so that's good. Is this a valuable use of your time? What did you like about it? Would you like to see something different? Would you like to do this in breakout rooms and be able to work with your peers on these sorts of things? We want to host and facilitate these types of conversations because I know when I was a pre-sales leader and I was in the field, we were really focused on what we were doing in our company. And there's a point where you can start to believe your own press, and getting some feedback from folks that are outside that may see something that you may not see can be really helpful in rounding out your strategy. So let us know how we can support you and we can do more of this together. And it sure was good to see so many of you here and so many familiar faces. Thanks for joining us. Let me open up if there's any questions before we do a final wrap. I'm more than happy to answer anything before we go. Aaron, I'm not seeing anything in the QA or chat just yet, but let me give it just a minute if anybody wants to drop anything in there before we wrap up.
Doesn't look like there's anything being added, so
Okay.
we should be all set.
All right, sounds good. Well, if you think of anything, let us know. We're more than happy to do this again. Or if you want to do a deal with us later, let us know. We'll put you on the list for the next one, and we can do that. If you want to know more about the specifics of the partnership between Presales Collective and 2Win, join Jack and I for our live tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the details of the partnership, some of the motivation behind it, some things that are planned, and some things we're dreaming about that will come in the future. So would welcome you to join us there and learn more about what we're doing and share your thoughts about the partnership. We're really excited about this and are looking forward to doing more.
Yes, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll be in touch with this recording here shortly.